But I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With the rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Tonight we're taking your calls as we discuss good old-fashioned UFOs, except there's been a development. As you know, we talk about all kinds of wild stuff on this show. That's really our calling card of sort of the cosmic musings, as I like to say. But there's also, let's say, government rumblings regarding the UFO situation. Because, of course, recently, if you've been paying any attention to the news, well, the new UFO director, who's been, active for about 18 months or so, we'll read the actual article in a sec here, but he's stepping down. So they just created this whole new AARO, AARO, which is the All-Domain Anomalous Resolution, what the hell is it called? In any case, it's a new UFO office. After the old UFO office, there was the ASIOMG, or whatever it was called, AYSIOMG, or I don't know what the hell it was, right? So they knew that it was a terrible thing, because who wants an acronym that you can't really say? It's just a bunch of gibberish letters. It'll sound like, some magic spell from the days of yore. Yeah, well, or not. It'll sound just like a bunch of gibberish. And so, yeah, lots of stuff happening, of course, in this realm. Everybody's all up in a lather, as they always are in the UFO community. And look, I say that, and I don't find, me personally, I don't find myself or define myself by community, right? I mean, I'm part of several, and this is a massive one that we've kind of built together. But sort of in that larger context of the UFO community, I feel like an outsider, because a lot of my takes are kind of cynical regarding UFOs when it comes to governments. And you know me personally that I don't mind stretching the imagination for just about anything. When you were hearing information from the government about UFOs and what they are, that's when my tinfoil starts to tingle, as I say, because something is wrong. And especially with this, they create this new office. Again, it's let's read the thing real fast. It's this. Let me just give you the actual arrow. It's the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. I probably butchered that going by memory. And Sean Kirkpatrick was the guy, okay? Except he just announced that he's stepping down in December. Why? Why? What's going on with... Okay, I'm going to read this. This is from straight from the website. It says, welcome to the website for the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, of course, AARO. Our team of experts is leading the U.S. government's efforts to address unidentified anomalous phenomena using a rigorous scientific framework and a data-driven approach. Since its establishment in July of 2022, AARO has taken important steps to improve data collection, standardize reporting requirements, and mitigate the potential threats to safety and security posed by UAP. Of course, UAP are unidentified aerial phenomena. We look forward to using this site to regularly update the public about AARO's work and findings and to provide a mechanism for UAP reporting. Thank you for visiting. It's got the mission, the vision, some reporting trends, and, we've had a couple of hearings. So look, as they say, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there might be something here. Except when it's coming from the government, this is a milquetoast at best, as they say, milquetoast take at best, because look, if there's aliens, they know it. If there's not, they know it. And if it's somewhere in between and more weird than we can ever imagine, which is more, kind of down my alley, then, well, they know it too. And because, of course, and here's the thing too. So the question for you guys tonight is this, very specific. What the hell is going on? What the hell is happening with the government and this sort of deep state edition of the UFO business when they just created this new thing and the guy stepped down? Now, there's a whole bunch of drama surrounding this, of course. The UFO community, back to, like I said, I find myself as an outsider, but kind of curiously interested in what those individuals are saying. But it just seems to me that it's tribalistic like everything else. It's very, Republican and Democrat. It's very this side versus that side, the skeptics versus the believers. And, the skeptics tend to just crap on everything that they see or everything reported. And then the believers tend to believe everything they see. And it's like, or everything that is reported. And like I said, it's different for me because if you see it personally, and we've had a lot of people call into the show with actual personal experiences, that's what's intriguing to me. That's what's really the tantalizing bit about UFOs and the entire state of that UFO union is when people actually see these things and these people and you know they're not bad guano, but they're telling you, hey, look, I saw this thing and I don't know what it is, but I do think there's something to it. And that would be sort of most of the takes you get from people that are seeing these things out there. Now, me personally, like I said, I haven't really seen anything. I don't qualify myself as an experiencer per se, but you get the idea that we don't always have to be sort of stuck into these binary ideas of, well, you're either a skeptic or you're a believer. Why? It doesn't make any damn sense. Can't a bunch of things be true at the same time? I think so. And very specifically, this guy stepping down just recently or announcing he's going to seems bizarre, given that they basically just created this office and he's the head of it. And you got this David Grush stuff going on, the whistleblower supposedly that's saying there's crash retrievals and alien bodies, or sorry, he didn't say that. He said alien biologics, or what was it? Non-human biologics, I guess was the term. But look, this is the word games that are being played in the government. Why though? Just tell us the damn stuff. Like, if it's real, fine. If it's not, fine. Let's just get to the bottom of this. But I think therein lies the game. And so the question for you tonight is, why exactly is this Sean Kirkpatrick guy stepping down? And again, is it more gamesmanship? Is it more secret programs? Is it more all of the above? Look, I don't really know exactly if we've built an alien reproduction vehicle, this type of thing. But let me tell you what, it wouldn't surprise me if we had something, let's say, similar that was maybe human technology that we really just don't have a grasp on yet. Maybe they're so rare in sort of these testing zones or things like this, or they're so expensive to make, or who knows, the unobtainium you have to get from an asteroid in Alpha Centauri to make it. I don't know. And I'm just kidding with that, of course, but you get the idea. What the hell's happening out there? And that's what I want to know. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Before we do that, just real quick, this is the article from Politico. This is from just a couple days ago. This is November 7th. Pentagon UFO boss to step down next month. All right. Yeah. All right. Fine. The head of the Pentagon office responsible for investigating UFOs is stepping down from his post in December, he said in an exclusive interview Tuesday. Sean Kirkpatrick, the head of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, is retiring from the federal government after nearly 18 months on the job. 18 months. Really? That's it? That's all we get? I don't know. And again, the reason I brought up the UFO community is many people are cheering this on because they think he's a clown. They think he's a deep state disinformation guy. And that in particular resonates with me. I think a lot of these guys are. They're supposed to be appointed to be the public face, the PR front of a secret program that we're supposed to know nothing about. And they're supposed to feed us misinformation, disinformation. They're supposed to throw us off the trail. That's really what this is. It's the same thing like I say about NASA. They say never a straight answer is what it really stands for, wink, wink. But it is really the PR front of a secret space program. And I see these guys the same way. ERA was probably the PR front of, dare I say, a reverse engineering program. But is that true? I don't know, because it could be just them running up information to try and fool all of us. Who really knows? But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this tonight. So just a little bit more. He says, quote, "I'm ready to move on. I've accomplished everything I said I was going to do." Really, bro? Really? Oh, where's the aliens? Anybody? Anyway, Kirkpatrick said accomplished everything he said he was going to do, adding that he still wants to finish a few tasks, including wrapping up the first volume of a historical review of the unidentified anomalous phenomena issue before leaving. His deputy, Tim Phillips, will lead the office in an acting role until the Pentagon hires a permanent replacement, Kirkpatrick said. Okay, fine, right? Seems weird, no? 18 months. And look, I know in the intelligence community, it is normal for, these people that work in these different shops to shuttle around quite a lot. I think the rule of thumb, and I just know this because I know people that work in these sort of areas, not UFOs, just sort of intelligence, okay? In the intelligence community, the IC as it's called. And I've been told that typically they don't want anybody in one job for more than like 3 years in like a leadership role. And they just keep cycling people, which seems to be standard. But this is quite a bit less than that 3-year cycle. It's 18 months. So what's going on here? And how much are they pulling our leg about all this? And as a side note, because we're going to just do an old-fashioned UFO show, what's your favorite UFO theory? What the hell do you think is really going on with this? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Let's just start the calls right now since we got a phone call. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds. What's your first name and where are you calling from? Go right ahead.
Hi, buddy.
Good evening.
So you're talking about disclosure?
Yeah, well, sort of. And the Pentagon UFO boss stepping down, and yeah, a little bit. I guess disclosure kind of fits in there. What do you know about it? Go ahead.
Oh, I know lots. Okay. So I'm an experiencer, and I also listen to Dolan and Preston Dennett and people like that. And these people are beyond disclosure, I mean, because, and so am I, because it's been done before, like about 5-6 times, disclosure. And I read some of the early UFO books. Pardon me?
I didn't say anything. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've read some of the early UFO books, and they were thinking the same thing. The ufology people were thinking the same things, back in the 1950s and 60s. They were saying the same things that people are saying now, really, the same stuff. And so I don't think disclosure is going to be, it's not really going to go anywhere, in my opinion. I'm sorry, but, so I go on to other things. So we are beyond disclosure. And so I carry on working in ufology, and I'm an experiencer as well. So, that's kind of my point of view of it all. Now, I've been on these shows before, and the thing of most value I have to offer, I think, are my experiences. And I mean, everybody can speculate. I can speculate and hypothesize every which way, up, down, and sideways, right? I can do that. But I apply a certain method to the problem. And the anecdotes are data points in science. I'm a science guy. I have degrees and stuff. Anecdotes are data points, and data points are anecdotes. And I'll discuss that in scientific debate with anybody. Now, I can't really hear your voice on the phone here.
I'm actually not talking. You're just letting you go. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was hearing something.
Yeah, no. Real quick. So, what is your first name? What's your first name? Where are you calling from? No, not specific information. Just ish. Where are you calling from? What's
Jim,
your first name?
I'm Jim. I'm in British Columbia, Canada, near the Pacific Ocean.
Sweet. I've been there. It's a beautiful place. Jim in BC, go right ahead. Tell us what else you know about disclosure, and so can you do this for us? Tell us one of your experiences, because we're short on time because we're only doing an hour show for the month of November. Can you give us an experience, and then two, after that, give us your theory on what the hell's really happening out there?
One experience, okay. The first time that I knew I met an alien, the first time. I'd already met this guy twice before this. And as well as before that, I had a bunch of other paranormal experiences. About 30. I've had about 30 real good paranormal experiences. And going back to my age of 22 years old, now I'm 74. So, but it was about 13, 14 years ago when I realized, okay, this guy who keeps coming back and messing with me, this guy is an alien. And now I was looking right at him, looking at it right in his face. I was in communication with him, mind-to-mind communication with him. And I realized, now I know who is messing with me. It's this guy. So I asked him to his face by telepathy. I said, why are you messing with me? And he threw his head back and laughed at the sky. Now this guy, I could see him clearly. He was 8 feet tall, and obviously probably not a human. That guy. And the way this happened, I'll tell you how this happened. Now this is kind of a point of synchronicity. I do the math on these synchronicity events, and so I used to go up camping in the mountains all the time, and I had vehicles that I fixed up so I could just go up in the mountains and live alone for a period of time and read books and test the knowledge that I gained from the indigenous people. I gained knowledge from the indigenous people, and I would go up there and live for a while and test this knowledge. And this is so anyway, I was up there camping like about 15 years ago, and this day I got up early in the morning, and I thought, I'm going camping, and I want to get away from this guy or whoever it is who's following me around and messing with me. And I didn't know whether it was the CIA or the aliens, because I had earlier in my life, when I was doing engineering, I had a run-in with the CIA or someone like that, because I sent scientific papers across borders, and I wasn't supposed to do that. So anyway, quickly, I'm going through this really fast, but so I knew somebody was messing with me, but I didn't know if it was the CIA or the aliens. I couldn't see how the CIA could do all the weird things they did to me. But anyway, so that morning I thought, I'm going to get away from whoever it is who's following me. So I loaded up my vehicle and I went zipping up the highway to camp, and I went to a different place, and I tried to hide up on this little mountain. And I tried to hide up there. So I got up there, and I pulled my vehicle underneath the canopy of the trees to hide. And then immediately I'd shut the motor off. I got out and I walked out into the middle of the road, out into the open again. And I looked back to another mountain where I could see my one of my favorite campsites from 3 miles away. I could see my other campsite over there on another mountain. And I looked over there, and as soon as my eyes fell on my old campsite, there was a helicopter above it, and it was Huey, and it was flying straight towards me in a straight line directly towards where I was now standing. And the unlikeliness, this is extremely unlikely for this to happen, but it was flying directly towards me. So I'm watching this helicopter, a Huey, coming directly at me, and I'm thinking, okay, this is the guy. Okay, this is the guy who's been messing with me. I've asked to see him, and and here he is. And it takes about 3 minutes for this helicopter to fly 3 miles. And it comes up to me, and I can see a guy hanging out of the side door. And the helicopter turns and does a circle above me, about maybe 60 yards above me, and it starts doing a circle right around me. I can see this guy hanging out the door, and I'm looking at him, and I recognize his face because I've seen him a couple of times before, and it is this 8 foot tall, tall white individual.
On the helicopter. On the helicopter?
He's hanging out the door of the helicopter.
Okay.
And he's smiling at me. He's got a great big smile on his face. He's looking right at me with this great big smile. And I'm looking up at him because that morning I had asked, how can I get away from these people who are messing with me? And here he is. He shows up and he smiles at me. And I asked him telepathically, I said, why are you messing with me? I sent the message very loudly. That's how you do telepathy. And he threw his head back and just laughed at the sky, and they completed the one circle around above me. Now, in this sighting, I mentioned the helicopter and how he was sitting because that's how I could tell he was 8 feet tall, because he was sitting on the floor and his head was up above the top of the open door and his feet were on the runners and his knees were bent. Okay, so this is how I know he is 8 feet tall, and anyway, and very likely a tall white. So the helicopter does one loop around above me and heads off in another direction. But so finally, I had something figured out with all these weird experiences I've been having, and I think they picked me out for some reason. And I think they have me working for them. This is my best speculation, is that I work for these aliens, right? I do little jobs for them. I just work here on Earth, I'm kind of like just a helper, I do what I can. I'm an environmental engineer, as well as other kinds of engineering I've done. And I'm also a moral person, so if I'm just naturally a moral kind of guy. I was when I was a little kid, and that's what I do. I do some really basic science for them, and like I'll take on some morality, sanity projects and things like that on the internet, and I have to apologize to the aliens if they're listening. I'm doing my best, you guys. I realize I'm sorry I haven't done a lot, but I do work as hard as I can and I do my best. But anyway, so and then okay, so now I listen to all these other experiencers. That's my main. When I do ufology, mainly I want to listen to the experiencers. Now some of them are making stuff up. I know that. Okay?
That's a fact.
I do. I know that.
That's a fact. Yeah. Are all of them making stuff up? I don't think so. Just to let you know, courtesy heads up, we got about 90 seconds, and then we got to take a break, okay? So please head toward wrapping it up. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, okay. I have so many stories.
That's okay. The good news is we do 5 shows a week, and usually we do 3 hours. We'll get back to that in December, and I'd love to have you on to talk about this at length, okay? But go ahead.
Yeah. I have 2 paradigms. One is the native knowledge, and the other one is science. Those are my 2 paradigms, and nobody can study all the paradigms. That's where I live, in those 2 paradigms.
Fair enough. Okay. So do me one quick favor. So we are going to take a break here, and like I said, we are down to hour shows for a number of reasons here for the month of November. Tell me, how did you find Troubled Minds? You're obviously a new caller. How'd you find us?
Oh, I just look around. I look all over for good ufology and good talk and chat, and I've been on a bunch of different shows, but I haven't written a book. I'm not trying to make money at it. It's just actually my ufology is my hobby. My job is engineering and such things. So it's not my work being on the show. It's just hobby. It's philosophy to me. Okay.
I agree.
Right now I am doing philosophy. Period.
Perfect.
I'm not
Perfect.
doing science.
Okay, real quick, we are out of time, so you're welcome back anytime, okay? We talk about all kinds of wild stuff, and you got to just pick up the phone and dial just like you did, okay? Jim in BC, pleasure to meet you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night, all right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Take care. There you go. Making new friends all the time. 702-957-1037. What do you know about the UFO business going on? Disclosure or nah? Or anywhere in between? Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, that is KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Tonight, we're talking about an old staple, UFOs. We just found out a couple days ago that Sean Kirkpatrick, the head of AARO, the government UFO program, the one of today, is stepping down in December. Now, what the hell's going on? Well said by Jim, great call there, I appreciate it very much. Said disclosure is not something from the government. We shouldn't expect it. We're not going to get it. And I completely agree with that sentiment. I think they're playing games with us. But why get into such a high-profile situation and then step down? Anyway, a lot of frustrating things happening in that regard, but I've come to expect personally that we're not going to get jack from the government anyway in any of this type of stuff, because we know they've been studying it for a very long time, and so as a result, we can probably extrapolate they know a little more than they're going to let on. Because who wants to really say, oh yeah, Bigfoot's real and it's dimensional and it's associated with the UFO aspect, and let's say any of that's even true and it starts to get a little weird. They're not going to tell us that stuff, because then we would lose faith in the government. I mean, right? Does anybody out there still have faith in the government? Show of hands. Anyway, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Let's go to James in Michigan. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead.
Sorry about that. I was thinking you were going to go to phone calls first. So, first. Okay. Great topic. I did see all the sort of the stuff online about this these recent events. I also saw people making suggestions about who they wanted to have in as a replacement. And it was all people sort of like in the UFO community, which I think is kind of weird in a way that people would sort of, and it's ironic in a way. People want other people from the community to be the replacement for Kirkpatrick, which is like in a way I'm thinking, well, if they're not government, they're not going to be put in there. But in another way, I'm like, well, in a way, I'd rather have someone that's not government put in there. Not from the government put in there too. So I kind of agree, but either way, I don't like any of it. So I've sort of been laughing and face palming at a lot of this as well.
Yeah, I do kind of smell a rat. Something is not right here. And I think the larger point to me is that even if you put somebody from the government outside into the government itself as, the head of the new AARO or whatever, even make a new thing. They've made it. This is the second UFO office they've made in the last 3 years. There's all this other stuff happening. I still think that, you answer to the government, and the government at large, the executive branch, will issue information as they see fit. And even if we have all that information, and let's say just for sake of conversation, you put the OG godfather of ufology in modern times, George Knapp, in there as like the head of one of these places, he would still have to defer to whoever was paying his check, and that would of course be the executive branch of the United States government, which is the president. So in that aspect, I think we're sort of running circles as we've always been with UFOs. What else you got, my friend? Go right ahead.
Yeah, so in that way, I agree with the first caller there. Great call. And it's funny, we sort of talked about that before. I did want to mention I had a sighting a couple weeks ago of not one, but two blue lights. And also felt presences from them. So had another blue light sighting a couple weeks ago. And so apparently that stuff is still going on nearby. So
right on. Yeah, well, that's the thing too. If you guys are familiar with James's story, there he's got he's seen this blue light quite a bit. Has corroborating witnesses that actually saw it with him, and this is like I said, this is something that I think we should take a little more seriously as a society. But that's why I enter Troubled Minds to talk about this stuff, because like I always say, it's not water cooler talk. Shout out Night Stalker, it's water coolest talk. What else you got, James? We got as you know, we got a couple calls behind you. We got to squeeze in here, but go right ahead. What you got?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to point out again that I did feel presences, so it wasn't just satellites or planes or planets or whatever else, and I will leave it at that, and thank you for taking my call.
You're the best. James Salcido, you know him, you love him. Yeah, a dear friend of mine. He's a paranormal expert of Troubled Minds. He has his own show called Salcido Paranormal. Check it out, SALSIDO space paranormal. And you'll find him, links in the description, troubledminds.org/friends. Says follow James here. Appreciate it very much, brother. We're talking UFOs tonight. And again, the weird news is Sean Kirkpatrick is stepping down. Derek also said, the Night Stalker said he's going to start, Kirkpatrick is probably going to start making the rounds and saying some wild stuff. Maybe that's the case. Wouldn't that be absolute insanity if he just starts doing UFO podcasts and saying stuff you're like, what? Oh, so all the stuff you said in the official capacity is like, nah, but then like you quit and you're like, man, if you guys only knew. You get my frustration with that if that starts going down. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We need to, like I said, we need to do more UFO shows. Lots to talk about. We go really wild and deep on this show with theories and stuff. But I think sometimes the nuts and bolts of the UFO aspect is good to talk about. I don't mean that as like ships. I mean the nuts and bolts of what's happening in the UFO community and the government and disclosure and the rest. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. Do you think this is more nothing to see with this guy stepping down, or do you think it's maybe a harbinger of other things? Maybe we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Let's go to, looks like Herschel in Colorado. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And thanks for calling back. Go right ahead.
Hey, this is Herschel. How's it going? So I got a story from my childhood. It's really, short. It's not a big dramatic story, but, I was doing the thing that you do when you're a little kid laying on the grass on the lawn in front of the house looking up at the stars. And that what nowadays they call the triad when you see three lights. So, but it was way up there. It had to be like in near Earth orbit, because the three lights looked like they just blended in with the stars, like they were the size of stars, so that you couldn't like really notice it. It was they were kind of camouflaged, but they were clearly a triangle, and they were kind of doing like a formation and kind of turning in a circle. And then another one showed up and went into the middle of them, and it would dart in and out of it. It would dart in and out of the triangle. And it was just, I'll never be able to deny that I saw that. It was very real, and it was way up there. And the only thing I could say that I felt was I had the sense that they were aware that I was aware of them. That would be the best way to describe it. I wasn't sure if it was a presence, but I felt like they were aware of my awareness. Like they were aware that I was concentrating on them and looking at them. And then, I went in the house and I told my dad, and he was like, don't tell anybody you saw that. I don't want people driving by here saying there's the crazy kid's house. He just didn't want me to think about it. And I went back outside and I laid down again, and they were still there, and my hunch about that whole thing, that was the only experience I've ever had. I've never had one since. And I was a little kid then. I'm 60 now, and I was probably 11 or 12 then or something. And I have never had another experience with them that I could point to. But my hunch about all of it is that they have been around for a long time, probably before we were evolved, and that they'll probably be around after we're gone, and that, they've just, whoever it is, wherever they're from, for all we know, they could be from here. They could be a species that evolved and got off the rock before the meteor hit or something, and they just decided to stay out in colonized space. Who knows? But my sense is that they've always been around, and they've been around for a long time, and that they'll probably be here long after we're gone.
Yeah, I love the story. Thanks for sharing that. So to bring these things to you, and as you said, it felt like you knew they were there, and they were aware that you knew they were there, And that's part of that entire process. So I wonder if inadvertently you sort of tripped a protocol like that and maybe called them, maybe brought them to you. What's your thought on that?
Well, I don't know if I brought them to me, but I know that when I happened to notice them, I felt like they noticed that I noticed them. If that makes sense. I wasn't laying down at the stars looking at the constellations because I was looking for a UFO. I was just hanging out, being a little kid, looking at the sky. You know, like I did that all the time, and I'd never seen them since. You know, I'd go out there and I'd say, I'm going to see if I can find that triangle again, you know, and I never, ever saw it again.
Yeah, the triangle is an interesting part of that story. So what do you think is happening with the government? Do you think they actually know what the hell's happening, or do you think that all the obfuscation is their embarrassment that they don't know what's happening, and they're aware of it, but they can't really explain it directly? What's your feeling there in terms of, let's say, the UFO cover-up?
I think that there's probably a knowledge hierarchy, and that there are people in the government who definitely know about it, you know, and are have a lot more knowledge than they're telling us. You know, and I think we're dealing with a species that conquered time and space a long time ago. And that, you know, how people in government are, they believe their own BS. And if they have special knowledge, they don't want to share it because it makes them feel special.
That makes a lot of sense. And of course,
that's just my simple analysis of it. But I just really, I don't know. That was weird. You know, you'd think that since I'm aware of it, that I would continue to have experiences. But as far as I know, I haven't. I've had some weird dreams and stuff. And, you know, I've had experiences where I've heard what sound like crafts or something like outside of a window. But when I look, there's nothing there, you know, like buzzing and like vibration and stuff, like somebody driving an ATV by or something, but there's nobody there. There's no ATV. There's no nothing. There's just blackness where I live, you know, but I have had that experience where I feel like I hear a loud noise and it wakes me up, and I look outside and there's nothing. Like maybe I just missed it or something, you know?
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be. It makes sense that it doesn't have to be a visual experience. I mean, that's the type of thing. And you know, again, to the previous story there, Jim in British Columbia, the alien was laughing at him in his experience, almost like we've talked about that as like the trickster archetype of you know, we're dealing with something that's kind of messing with our consciousness and our ability to perceive our own reality. And that laughing right there gets me, because it's like, wait, now, is this what we're doing? Like, we're just sort of having these weird reality bending experiences, and somebody's manipulating us, the, you know, wink, wink aliens or whatever you want to call them. As a result, here we are just, you know, talking weird UFO shows by dark of night on the interwebs. And instead, they're just waiting for us to go stare at the stars and bend our minds some more. I don't know. Wild stuff. We do have a call to get to behind you as well, but let's wind this down. What's your final thought? I did share your Substack, by the way, Herschel.substack.com. I believe it links in the description. I dropped it in all the chats. I will add you to the list of friends as well, troubledminds.org/friends. Go follow the man's Substack. He's a good writer, and obviously got a lot of ideas here with the weird stuff we talk about. Your final thought, my friend, go ahead.
Well, my final thought is just hang in there and be grateful for your consciousness. You're very unique. Every single person is so unique, and just don't give up. That's my final thought.
Amen. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for calling. Like I said, I'd love to talk to you at length when we get back to 3-hour shows. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling, and you have a great night. We'll talk to you soon, brother. There you go. Good stuff. Thanks, bro. Thanks, you too. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. We'll put you on the show. We're just doing a good old-fashioned UFO show, but the wild part is we've got Sean Kirkpatrick, the Pentagon UFO boss, stepping down in December. Weird, right? He's only been there 18 months. They just made this basically ARROW is what it's called. Let me get this correct by reading it properly. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. And so, I don't know, wouldn't that be the spot to be in if, you know, sort of the catbird seat, as they call it, in the government? I mean, that's if I wanted to work anywhere in the government, it would be in the UFO program. You know what I mean? Or DARPA probably would be a second. Maybe it's the same thing. By the way, maybe they collaborate. But that's where I'd want to be. I'd want to know what the hell was going on with that stuff. But it seemed like, and this was part of the frustration of the UFO community itself, they were pissed off at this guy because he wouldn't even acknowledge Project Blue Book and this type of stuff. And they're like, oh, we've got what was the actual number of sightings? He said something like 800 sightings or whatever. Let's see, it's in here. It's in the write-up if you guys want to check it out. But basically, it's like kind of dipping off and being like, well, 1969, 12,000 UFO reports from Project Blue Book. And he's saying, well, we've been looking into over 800 UFO cases. It's like, wait, so does that other data just vanish? Or because it's from a bygone era and technology's changed, now we're like, okay, so everything's new? I mean, if the UFOs are the same things in the periphery 50 years ago as they are now, why throw out all that data? Does that make any sense to you? Doesn't make any sense to me. And that's part of the frustration with this guy and basically this entire program, AARO itself, AARO. In my opinion, and some people have echoed that in the UFO community, ancient astronaut theorists say yes. But what do you say? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. Let's go to the Robert in Pennsylvania. What's up, my man? You're on Trouble Minds. How are you? Go right ahead.
I've said this before. That's why they changed the whole UFO thing to AUPs as some kind of way of dodging any kind of legal requirement to even talk about Project Blue Book, because Project Blue Book was UFOs. All right, it's a shell game with them. I mean, they're mandated to talk about UAPs. They're not mandated to talk about UFOs.
So you can peel it off with a different definition and then be able to say our 800 cases and then ignore the 12,000 cases that have been studied in the past. Makes perfect sense. Change the definitions.
They're UFO cases. It's a classic way to dodge, what is considered a mandate for them to get around it. Also, the suggestion that Kirkpatrick may be stepping down and then releasing all kinds of information and starting to go on these conferences and becoming famous in the UFO community, that's not unheard of. That happened with Nick Pope.
That's true.
Remember Nick Pope?
Yeah, they call him the Fox Boulder.
Great Britain's UFO Bureau, and he certainly denied this and denied that while he was there. But once he stepped down, he became a celebrity on the UFO circuit. Yeah, that's a fact. So it is there. It does have some historical basis for him maybe doing something like that. I'd love to see it. And here's a notable thing about Kirkpatrick. He said and actually countered the whistleblower testimony, and I'm doing the air quotes, of David Grush. And Grush, of course, we know infamously testified before Congress. We all saw that. My jaw dropped watching it because he was saying basically alien crashes, crash retrieval programs, black budgets, SAPs, this type of stuff. And Kirkpatrick came out right after that and called the hearing embarrassing, called the information not even within the realm of possibility, and everything they're working on is about science, and that is not science. It's hearsay and nonsense, something to that effect. But recently, I don't know if you guys know this, a couple days ago, I'll see if I can find that article, maybe it was a week or so, Kirkpatrick came out and said that there is some direct basis in the claims that Grush made, and they're investigating those. So how deep does that go? Is it actual crash retrievals and that type of stuff? That's probably why he's stepping down, because the heat is on. All right, excuse me, but he's probably being pressured by the people in the shadows, to lie to Congress, and he's probably done that by now. And he's worried about his own skin, because there's consequences for lying to Congress. There's consequences for lying, period. And I think that he's getting out before it gets too hot, and he winds up maybe in a situation of being held as having lied to Congress.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens. I'm hoping. I was like, as you know me, I've been all over the place with my takes on this because I used to be extremely cynical, and now with David Grush, I'm holding my cynicism for a moment to see if something pans out here, and if they are investigating this, maybe you're right. Maybe the heat is on, and maybe this is exactly why we're sort of seeing this changing of the guard to maybe somebody will shut his mouth, and maybe he did say too much.
Well, I certainly hope it's not that his replacement is not somebody from the UFO community, because that would be so easy for those people in the shadows to turn that into a circus.
Yeah, hell yeah, and that's part of it. I think that would be the worst thing you could do is just take somebody from the UFO community, some super notable person. Look, I got nothing against Richard Dolan directly, but let's say you grab Richard Dolan, put him in charge of the UFO program. I think people would roll their eyes a lot. Some people would be super excited, but is anybody going to take him seriously? I mean, he's been saying whistleblower stuff for a long time. That doesn't, of course, always pan out. Let's say most of the time it doesn't. And so, he's admitted he's been wrong and maybe misled and misunderstood and all kinds of stuff. But I don't know. I think we're dealing with, as you described it very well, a shell game of information, and we're not supposed to know other than to bicker and argue with each other and feeding these, UFO insiders, these old timers who've been in this for 30 years plus information to feed to us is really the game they're playing. What else you got, my friend? Go right ahead.
One last thing. I'm pretty sure in my good heart of hearts that this is all going to blow up. All right, we're in the internet age. We're in the cell phone age. Too many people have cameras. There's no way they could put their finger. They keep putting their finger in the dike that's leaking, but sooner or later that dam's going to burst. And I think it's going to happen next year in 2024. I think that's also maybe part of why Kirkpatrick's getting the heck out of there. All right, because he'll be, he can get out. He's forgotten. They're not going to pull him in front of Congress and say you lied to us because he's yesterday's news. All right, he's getting out while he could save his own skin. I think that those skiffs where the testifiers went, the witnesses went behind closed doors with Congress, that they revealed a lot. I think those people in Congress that were in those skiffs know a heck of a lot now, and they would know that this guy lied to them. All right, yeah. And I'm just thinking that 2024 is going to be where it all blows up.
I'm hoping so. I'm with you. You know me, I'm optimistic in that regard, and I hope. I just think that they're messing with us, and I'm not sure if we'll ever get past that. That this may be part of the messing with us, removing him because they didn't want him there for reason X, Y, Z. But yeah, I don't know. Good stuff. Once again, sorry about
the crack. All right. You take care of yourself, young man. I'm going to get off now. Bye.
Appreciate the call. That's the Robert in Pennsylvania. Great take as always. You know him, you love him, and he's been a good friend for a long time, and he's a good writer. You can check it out. Link's going to be in the description, troubledminds.org/friends. It says Robert's book here. Please go check it out. It's called Stories from a Fractured Mind, the Robert Collection. He did send me a couple copies, and I did read it, and it's very good. Very good. Go check that out. And that's I think the beautiful part about this is sort of being fully independent is we don't have to kiss anybody's ass. We don't have to say, advertisers don't want us doing this. No. You guys have been contributors and friends for a long time, so screw it. Do things our own way, and if you got things to sell, again, Commercial Herschel, so many great people that made this show go, as I always say, but please give our friends a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. Full list is there. If you should be on that list, it doesn't take much. Just help. Just call once in a while. Just retweet us. Let people know on Facebook or Reddit or something's happening, and a conversation that's mildly interesting. And that's all I ask, and we'll put you on the list. Just help out just a little bit, and you're on the list. A friend of Troubled Minds forever. There you go. So I think when you look at this in the larger sense of what's happening with the government disclosure, that is my most cynical point in all of this. If I didn't think there was a UFO some reality, I wouldn't be I would never have done this show. I think there's something to it, but I think that's when things get complicated, when you start kind of kicking the theories around and wondering what the hell's happening. But we're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep thinking, keep dreaming, keep looking to the sky, and who knows, maybe being aware that they're aware, that we're aware that they're aware, and we know that they know that we know that they know. And that seems to be a common occurrence when people have UFO experiences. So there we go. 1 hour goes fast. Like I said, my apologies for these condensed shows, but I think it's good to maybe try some different formats to see. Maybe this is the jam. Maybe it's not, but it is good to be able to kind of pull off a Troubled Mind show in just a quick hour there. And so thanks for the great calls, great making new friends, and of course don't forget the old timers too. I don't forget you. It's great to have old timer friends as well, and I don't mean you're old. I mean you're an old friend. And so as we finish, it goes like this. It is Troubled Minds Friday. Oh, I am going to the UFO conference tomorrow at the Luxor. I will be there for most of the day, and I will be there with Ryan Gable. He's actually texted me he's in town, so I will go down there and hang out and see what's up. I'll see if I can get some pictures, share them on the Discord. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, I don't know what you're doing. troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link on top. Come say hi. A lot of a great conversation happening there, and wild stuff, and that's that. Yeah, Ryan loves Vegas now. Exactly. Yeah. So that's the deal. That's what's happening in my life. Like I said, lots of changes coming to Troubled Minds, lots of exciting stuff. Trust me on that. Nothing to announce yet. As soon as there is, I will let you guys know. But everything's looking good, and cross your fingers, send good vibes. I would appreciate it, because it couldn't hurt. And as we finish, don't forget, follow our friends, troubledminds.org/friends. Keep looking at the sky. Don't let anybody deter you in terms of dreaming and thinking and considering ideas outside of that binary landscape of politics. It's so disgusting. There we go. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. I'll report back on the Discord some of the shenanigans tomorrow, and maybe I'll go Saturday too. We'll see, to the actual Luxor UFO conference happening. What's it called, actually? It's called, it's got a cool name. What is it? Hold on, let me see if I can find this. It's got kind of a cool name. Like Stairs to the Sky or something like this. Hold on, let me see. I saw the billboard, and I was like, what the hell? Like that's what they're calling this? Like, it seems very esoteric. It seems very weird. Let's see. Okay, I can't find it. Anyway, all right. So I'll find that, and I'll drop it in the Discord. If you haven't joined it, troubledminds.org, click the Discord link. As we finish, thanks again for all the amazing calls. Thanks for caring about these shows. Thanks for caring about the conversation and the larger ideas, those philosophical constructs. Thanks for being here on time and ready to go, and listening and carving us some time for your schedule. I appreciate that so much. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. We'll see you guys on Sunday nights with another show. And that's that. Have a good one. Michael Strange, out.